10 years after Spider-Man came The Amazing Spider-Man. Now you probably know they were in talks to do a Spider-Man 4, trying to make up for the disaster that was Spider-Man 3. Which I say is like trying to stuff too many big things in a small closet. That's what Spider-Man 3 felt like for me. And when Curt Connors made an appearance in Spider-Man 2, we all know his story, he becomes the Lizard. I thought that was hinting to the audience who was going to be the next Spider-Man villain in the next Spider-Man film. Unfortunately, that did not happen because Sam Raimi was bullied by the studio heads to put in Venom. He did not want to, but they kept persistent until he finally gave in. I think we all know what happened next. And Spider-Man 4 never fell through, so they decided to do a reboot. And how did it hold up? I gotta say I liked it. I really liked it. I like the way it doesn't try to be a carbon copy of 2002 Spider-Man. This Spider-Man film really tries to stand on its own. And in 2002 Spider-Man, Peter Parker lives with his aunt and uncle. There's no explanation given. In this film, there is an explanation given. And I like Andrew Garfield's portrayal of Peter Parker, not portraying him as a socially unpopular nerd. In this film, he is an outcast, but he's not a nerd. He's more of a rebel, like a James Dean-like thing going for him. He's not afraid of a fight, even though he knows he might lose. And when he gets his powers, I think his reaction to it all is very realistic, and Andrew Garfield really plays it believable. And Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, I fell in love with her after seeing her in this film. And I like the way the writers were really trying not to make her into another Mary Jane. No, they gave her more of a character development. They gave her more action and more to do. And I like the chemistry between her and Garfield. It didn't look as forced as Maguire and Dunst's chemistry seemed. And you probably know they started, Garfield and Stone started dating after the movie. And let's not forget the other characters. Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben was great, tough but loving father figure. He always comes across like he's afraid to get too tough on Peter. Just when you see him about to get real tough, he kind of pulls back because he seems like he's afraid Peter will shut him out. As for Sally Field as Aunt May, I really didn't feel she was given much to do. It's really not much, really hard thing to say because I like Sally Field as an actress, and I think they just didn't write much for her to do. Not that she was terrible, but they could have done more than what they did. I like that in this film we get to see more layers to the bully Flash Thompson. In the first film, he was basically written off as the big bad wolf, but here you get to see more to his character. Oh, and let's not forget Dennis Leary as Captain Stacy. He really nailed that role. And I like the way he displays how his reasoning for disliking Spider-Man and I like the way the cops were not portrayed as naive. I just thought that was well portrayed. I liked the Spider-Man suit too. Wish they could have used it in the sequel, but that didn't happen. Let's not forget Rhys Ifans as Dr. Connors, aka the Lizard. I really liked his performance in this film. I thought he really played a tortured man perfectly. He plays it in a Jekyll and Hyde sort of thing, similar to what Willem Dafoe played it as the Goblin. Except Rhys Ifans plays him more as like a drug addict who just can't resist the urges, where Dafoe played the Goblin as a man with multiple personality disorder. And the effects are terrific. The scenes where he's just swinging around. I like the big reveal that before we see his whole costume. I thought that was perfectly well done. I also like the web shooters. Now you probably know in the 2002 Spider-Man, the web shooters just became part of his power, but here they're built. They since they're rebooting it, they just went back to the drawing board. And I not much more to say. I think this was a great film. I wish the sequel could have been as good, but that didn't happen. I like the special effects with the lizard were also good, and so all in all, this is just a pretty entertaining Spider-Man film. I think it was my favorite one out of all of them. So I gotta give this Spider-Man a 9 out of 10. Sayonara!